Well, good morning, everyone. Hope all's well. Happy Thursday. Hey, Colleen.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am busy and wonderful.
There you go. Everyone's been wondering, where's Colleen been again?
Okay, you want the answer to that, right? We have been, as you know, very, very busy. I have a walkthrough to do today, a listing appointment tonight, and an inspection at 3.
Just hopping and going.
Yeah, there's things going on, which is good.
It is.
Just like you are busy.
Exactly. So we can't complain about that because that's the world we live in. So thanks for everyone for joining Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. I've got so Don Cramer here on the west side of town. Cheers to everyone.
Colleen on the east side.
East side. So
Gangster,
I was
I'm not.
listening to the Styx, "Come Sail Away,"
Yes.
and all I can think of was Cartman's rendition of "Come Sail Away."
Sorry, people would have to know South Park.
Yeah. So how many out there
I don't know.
listening today know South Park? Hit the like button. Remember those days, 20 some odd years ago, listen to Cartman singing "Come Sail Away." You guys, come on.
Yes. You will respect my authority.
Exactly. So, little shout out to the
Yeah.
past there. So,
Just a history. You do know that we named our dog Cartman. We found a dog. Long and the short of it, not the smartest dog. Okay, he ran away so many times that the shelter he was shipped would call us and go, "We've got him again."
you didn't call him Kenny?
Well, no, we called him Cartman, and it really worked because anyway, it was cute, and we were into South Park, would be my point.
Exactly.
So,
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to Coffee with Cramer and Colleen, your resource for a little bit of real estate, a little bit of levity, a little bit of community, and a little bit of lifestyle here in our humble little burg of Las Vegas, as a good friend likes to say. So we've got kind of a short one today, but kind of want to talk about a couple pieces of news. They brought out the unemployment numbers today for the month of May, and it looks like we had a little dip. So in April, Nevada, we peaked at 28.2%,
which is high.
which is high. I mean that's a lot considering as low as we were back in early March. But the number for May ended at 25.3%. So
I'll take it.
yeah, we'll take what we can get. So 3 percentage points down. They said 30. There was a 32,700 month-over-month job count, including adding 16,800 jobs in the accommodation and food services category. And so that was May. That was really before we started, kind of phase 2 reopening.
Yes. Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see a bigger trend down again. So it says the employment level is down 245,300 jobs compared to the same time last year, which is jobs growth negative 17.3%, if those want to play with statistics.
But it's expected. I mean, the idea is we're not in the same place we were last year.
No.
If we see any trending up, that makes me feel much better.
Right.
Interjection, however, the housing market is still strong. I mean, it's not affecting the housing market the way that one would think.
No, and
it is affecting people, and that's upsetting.
It is
very upsetting.
It is,
very.
and there's been a lot of as we've talked about on previous episodes. Speaking of episodes, do you know what this is? Before we dive back, I digress. I have a tendency to do that, little squirrel.
It's okay. That would be me more than you.
This is episode 50.
Episode 100. Oh, 50. Yeah. Well, see, yes.
This is episode 50 of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen.
Good job on you.
Good job on us.
Good job on you. Well, I mean, I don't do the heavy lifting. You do. So thank you again.
Well, you're out and about. I, kind of keeping the fort down again here in the old podcast studio.
You're our statistic guy, and I am the squirrel guy, whatever. And we know that.
Anyway, I mean, it's quite an accomplishment. And you and I, we set this out when, we were all locked down, needing to kind of reach out to people and touch base, and it's really kind of become a great thing. A lot of people, they catch up with the show, whether it's live or they catch up with it later on. And so, we enjoy being able to take an opportunity, good, bad, or otherwise, bring people stats and information they need, because even at home, they're still living busy schedules.
Well, I think a lot of it is even more so because now we have these little things that we have a meeting at 7:30 in the morning coming up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's one of those where you can do everything you need to do almost via Skype,
Yep.
Zoom. So I think you've created a great little thing, though. I love it, and I'm glad we do it, and I enjoy it. So.
Well, we look forward for us when we're connecting and kind of going over these things.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to the next 50.
Very much so. Very much so. Okay, so back to the numbers.
Yes.
The one thing that I was looking at and I really wanted to put out there's a statement in this article that says last month we saw Nevada was the hardest hit state in the nation.
Yes.
The flip side of that is there are so many people going, when are you open again?
Mm-hmm.
So I do look for and have seen a lot of growth we had an Airbnb that said, the article said the Airbnb can't keep up with the reservations that people want to get to Las Vegas.
Wow.
For the months of June through August, they're doing everything differently. I mean, it's all supposedly COVID safe, which I'm sure there's regulations. And they just said there's so many people cannot wait to get here.
Absolutely.
So
a lot of pent up demand.
Yeah. We have a lot more to offer. It's not just the Strip. Do you know what I mean? The Strip is the fun part. I get that, but there's so much more here. We don't have the bad weather. We have heat, but that doesn't bother a lot of people.
And apparently next week the heat is on.
And that song comes to mind. Boy, is it. Boy, is it. We're going to get hit. But you know what? I'm born and raised Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't nothing.
That's a good point. That's a good slogan. We're not as hot as Phoenix.
Not as hot as Phoenix. I had a girlfriend that posted 2 days ago or 3 days ago, 107 degrees with 11% humidity. Best place to be. And I'm thinking, I beg to differ, but
no.
and now it's 110, 112, 117. So anyway, it's a good place to come. And the point was, there's still a lot of demand for housing, for recreation, for a getaway. So
yes.
that to me was it gave me hope.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the number's trending downwards. And again, we're looking at a May number now that we've already sort of seen the first batch of hotel casinos open that first weekend of June. We just went through the second weekend. We're going into the Father's Day weekend here. And, I think that continued as the hotels reopen and amenities start to reopen. Again, Nevada, service industry, big driver of employment. Those people will start migrating back into their roles and jobs.
Yes. There's even my son-in-law is he's a musician.
Yep.
And there's places opening again so they can actually perform.
Okay.
So I mean, there's things I'm watching going, if done right, it's a good thing. And,
yes, absolutely.
Girlfriend came from Texas as quickly as she could and stayed for 3 days in a hotel, did a spa day, gambled, had dinner, and she said, I feel very, very comfortable and I like what they're doing. It's not the same as it used to be, but it still feels good and you still get to do what you want to do. So absolutely. She was very happy.
So
that's upper.
No, that's a good trend line trending up, and hopefully we will continue to see that increase. Again, as we talk a lot on this show, and I'm sure everyone hears it all day, every day, is so long as we can keep the hospitalization rates in check, that's going to just be add a positive sign toward keep us in a positive direction.
Exactly. And I don't know those. I think we're good.
So that's kind of the unemployment numbers. So, again, trending that trending in the right direction, that's a good sign for us.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things we're always kind of tracking, and we're kind of comparing it in relation to the housing market.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yesterday, as you and I chatted, we did a little deep dive on a couple of places and properties, and we also checked in with some friends and colleagues who are renting.
Yes.
And we're
Yes.
in the old, rent versus buy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an age old. I think back in the day when the Flintstones were looking, I think they were looking at a two two rock condo somewhere in
Yeah.
Bedrock
Yeah.
versus in the single family residential and maybe buying a place because
Mm-hmm.
the Flagstone FHA or Flagstone Freddie or Slag, what were those names of Fannie and Freddie back in the Flintstone days?
It could have been Flagstone.
Exactly. So going back to the days of Bedrock and the Flintstones, rent versus buy has
Yes.
been a question.
Yeah.
And we have a large rental population here. Very near 50%.
Yes.
So chatting with a friend of mine, there's been one of the big sort of upticks here the last few years is the rise of the luxury of the new generation of luxury condominium projects,
Condos.
condo
Yeah.
projects. Um, we used to have the little more like 2-story low risers, up and down Flamingo. I remember here moving in the 80s and the early 90s with the pool, with the fancy shaped pool and all that. Well, there's this whole new generation with fitness facilities, concierge, so on and so forth. And they are charging
Garages.
pretty penny.
Garages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Colleen, we had a mutual friend we were chatting with last night, and just to give some round numbers here. I mean, we're not going to say who, what, when, where, why, but they're currently 1,400 square foot condo, $2,200 a month.
So let's repeat that. That's 1,400 square feet.
Yeah.
So that's
2-bedroom.
per square foot. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot per square foot.
Gotcha.
And I know there's less prices. I mean, there are lower opportunities. I mean, there's less expensive options. I mean, there's still, rental with single family homes can be a little bit less. However, there is a demand for these luxury amenity type places where people are willing to spend $2,200 a month to live in 1,400 square feet in Las Vegas.
We have clients that have purchased them just for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because people are willing to pay them.
We have investor clients doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So then I looked at another place. So there's a new development over here next to downtown Summerlin, Hughes Center. Kind of looking again, what are they charging? So I'm here on a website, and for example, again, okay, this is a 1,300 square foot unit, 2-bedroom. They're $2,700 to $3,200 a month. And if we go even down to the 1,100 square foot units, we're $2,100 to $2,400 a month. Colleen.
So let's use the low numbers just because that's what I would do. So you have 1,300 at low ball. How much a month?
The 1,300. I'm sorry.
The 1,300 square foot one.
The 1,300 square foot one is $2,700 a month.
Okay, that's the end of that, and then the other one was 1,100. I mean, for $2,700 a month, your payment isn't going to be. I mean, if you do the math.
Nope.
So go ahead. Yeah. So the 1,100 square foot is what's their low ball?
So the 1,100 square footer, their low ball is 2,130. Let's call it 2,100.
Okay. So the lowest you can go is not lowest, but one of their lowest is 2,100 for 1,100 square feet, and we have a 1,400 square foot at $2,200 a month in another place, and we have a 1,300. We're over the $2,000 a month.
Yes, absolutely.
no matter what we do.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so when we look at that, so let's look at the 1,100 square footer. So I've got here, this is brand new construction. This is near new construction. So this was built, the construction day was 2017. So we're talking new generation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran, pulled the MLS and I ran the numbers. So because I wanted to say, okay, they're paying $2,200 a month, like obviously a bigger spot, but I want to compare this Tanager project there. So that is right now listed for $3,099, $310,000.
Okay.
And okay, so it's for sale, 310, and there's HOA fees, and we'll get into those as well. I mean, the HOA fees. So you've got to, and there's other things you got to pay. You got to pay taxes, things of that nature.
But that'll be in the that'll be in the payment.
Correct.
The only thing that's not in the payment is the HOA.
Yep.
So that's all, you look at the payment plus HOA, then you look at what you're paying for rent, and that's if you're doing where you can do better.
Exactly. So we are at, so I ran the numbers, and this is an FHA. So let's say FHA loan, good credit.
Yes. Okay.
And we're right now, we're pretty much, in speaking with a lot of friends and lenders, we're basically in an FHA loan 3%.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even a little bit. And so people know FHA loan is 3.5% down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about that, so that's 3.5% down. So 3,099. You're basically about $10,000. And some of these are, there's probably incentives either on the price or probably incentives towards closing costs, because in a lot of FHA situations, we look for seller concessions if we're on the buyer side, or we explain to our sellers there's going to be a request for that, because most FHA loans, they're trying to keep the dollars tight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with that down, so 10,000 down roughly, and then probably plus some closing costs. And let's say you did have to pay for closing costs, and that might be another 1.5.
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah, I'm saying 6.
Maybe 6. Okay, so 16,000.
Always estimate high and come in low, and everybody's happy.
So that payment right now on a 30-year 3% FHA with 3.5 down is $1,973.76 a month.
Okay. So you're $100 less than the smallest unit that's available for rent.
Yes.
On the ones that were just comped.
Yes. And that's with PMI of 124 a month, which is only so many months.
Yes. It can go away too.
It can
it's
go
not
away.
Like you're stuck with it.
And your non-PMI amount is $1,849.15.
See? So you're if you put enough down,
yep,
you're somewhere in that, and I mean, I would ballpark it. We don't know what the interest rates are, so let's say between 18 and 2,000 a month, you're still below the 2,100. And what size unit is that you're comping?
It's 1,125 square feet.
Okay,
it's about it's a little bit bigger, smidge.
Yeah. So again, you're in a position, and these are the higher end of the payments as far as that goes. Do you know what I mean? This is, and again, I'm caveating this. I'm gonna put in there, we can't guarantee any of these numbers. We're just throwing numbers around and seeing which is what we would do with anybody that was saying, let's rent, let's buy, what works best for us.
Right. So we're looking, okay, I wanted to say, all right, they're like, Don, but the Colleen, I'm next to downtown Summerlin, and this is brand new, and it's got a fitness center. Well, this one is right across from downtown Summerlin, by a little park, downhill. You're right there off of Charleston 215, so you got convenient access. Oh, by the way, it's got a great fitness center. Oh, by the way, they've got a concierge where they do wine tastings and yoga classes and all those types of things you're seeing in these luxury condos.
They have a great clubhouse. They have a great fitness center. They have great programs. Yep. They do all sorts of things for the community. So, yeah. I agree.
And granted, yes, there are HOA fees and there are taxes involved, and there's insurance. So HOA for that development is $280 a month. It's not, it's recognizable number. And your property taxes are $225, and then insurance is about $100, or maybe a little less than $100 a month, probably about $50-$60 a month. However, you have what they call in a buy and financing write-offs.
Mm-hmm.
So while there were concerns about other states with, SALT issues, those are the state and local taxes, because we have no local income tax, you have the ability, you have with write-offs, you may be able to write off some of this interest and some of these property taxes.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
So you're able to, and then definitely check with your check with your accountant. We've got someone we can put you in touch with.
Well, another thing that I would throw in there, Don, when I look at the whole picture,
Yep.
and you can never guarantee that you're going to get any incentives from the builders.
Correct.
But if you look at any additional payment or anything that is to offset, you offset that by how much a month how many months would it take for you to save back the amount they're giving you to get in this condo, which again, because it's a net sheet, you just look at it and go, what makes sense? If they're giving you X amount of dollars towards your closing costs and your payment is $200 more a month, if it's $5,000 you get towards closing costs at $200 a month, how many years is it going to take you before you are now paying more than you would have anyway?
Correct. Yes, exactly. And let's think about this. So you're let's say we're at about 2,000. We're just shy of 2,000 a month plus HOA and stuff. You're from your principal and interest standpoint, you're paying just shy. Just shy of 24,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other ones, just shy of 2,100. So just about 25,000 a year for the rental.
Yes.
Okay, crazy idea. You get done with that rental for that year. Well, you got to find a place to stay, right? So you're going to probably release and re-up that lease and probably pay another $25,000 a year. Well, you're going to pay another $24,000 a year here on the purchase. But when you feel it's time to leave after a few years because of a life change, you can sell the condo.
Or rent it out.
Now you are living the American dream of wealth building and now have a rental, especially if you're of a certain age group or things of that nature. You play the long game. You can take advantage of financing. Your income situation gets better. You use that rental income to pay down that condo, and appreciation over time. Let's say it was $300,000 now, and maybe 10 or 15 years. I mean, condos don't quite appreciate as much. Maybe it's 375, maybe it's 400. We can't predict that number, but it appreciates because it's in a great part of town. It's got great amenities. You've put money in. Yes, you've put money in. You've paid interest. You've had appreciation, but you will have what they call equity over that same period of time. You're over in Tanager. You're living there the same amount of time. You're done with renting. It's like, okay, time for a change. How much equity do you have when you're done with a rental?
Zip. Cleaning fees and
exactly. I might get my cleaning fee and my security deposit.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
No
so
pet,
I mean, it just
so
makes
it
doesn't make sense for everybody. I'll never say it does, right. But it does make sense for some, and that's worth looking at. Is the point? So, running these numbers, it's like, yes, it makes sense to look at it. If you're renting, call us.
Yeah.
Talk to us about. It doesn't have to be the specific property you're looking at. I mean, the price ranges, it's all specific to the person.
Exactly.
But I've come up with many clients that it made way more sense, and they didn't know they could.
Right.
That's a whole nother. I have no problem, and neither do you, walking them through this process, holding their hand, introducing them to a few people that will help them figure out how to do it. So it's not insurmountable. It's not something that should overwhelm. It's actually something that you have a lot of people on your side if that's what you are looking to do, but you're just afraid to do it because it's overwhelming. It's not what I do every day. I just don't want to think about it.
Exactly. And that is exactly right. And this video is about getting out to people we know, friends, or who do they know that's renting, and they pay their bills on time. They have decent credit. They can make enough money to consider what it would take to buy a house. And that is a conversation you should at least consider having, because not so just kind of wrapping up with this case. So we had a conversation. I picked up the phone. I called a good friend of mine and said, okay, you're paying $2,200 a month over here in XYZ condo development for 1,400 square feet. I said, they're closing out over there at Affinity. They have the same amenities and lifestyle level that you like. There's probably there's new buyer incentives right now. We helped another client with an Affinity project, so they like working with us.
Yeah.
And I said to her, saying, if we can get you into this place on an FHA loan, 3.5% down, and you're at least zeroing out or even a little bit ahead, what's the problem?
Right. Well,
What is the downside?
There isn't one.
Well, I could lose my job. Well, yes, you could. You know what? Actually, after forbearance and eviction notices go away, you can also lose your condo.
And again, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But the answer is, if it's something you look at and you don't know all the numbers and you don't know all the facts,
yep.
and it's something that you either been running from for fear,
right,
or for just lack of, I don't have time to do. That's what we do. We'll put everything together, get you with somebody. We take all the heavy lifting off.
That's our job.
That's what we live for, actually, because it's fun. Don't you think it's fun to get people to actually go, I didn't know I could do that.
And another great example,
I didn't know I could do that.
Colleen, you and I were working with a client. It started earlier this year, but because of COVID and all those types of things, the seller, who has investment properties here in Las Vegas, is selling off those properties. Okay?
Right.
And we met with the tenant. And
yes,
you
sir.
had a conversation, and they've started the journey and a plan, and the seller's accommodating on the timetable as well to get them into the purchase of the unit, because it meets their needs and goals over the next few years.
And to that note, just yesterday, and this was to let everybody out there in TV land know, we stay on top of it. I just was speaking with the lender, with the seller, and with the prospective buyer, the tenant. Mm-hmm. And it has been a 3-month, and it's going to be a 4-month process. The seller is okay with that. She's paying her rent. She's staying there. It's not a problem.
Right.
But she didn't know how she was going to get herself into the condo, but she didn't want to move.
Right.
They wanted to sell it. We went, what if you wanted to buy it? Could we work the deal? And her answer is, I'm so grateful because I didn't know where to start.
Exactly.
That is where, that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we make this a match that works for everybody?
Exactly.
And she's very excited, and the seller is fine with it because she's doing everything she's supposed to. We're communicating with him. And it was just one of those light bulb moments where you go, did you want to stay, or did you want to look for another place, or what? Because I was going to help her get a rental. I mean, that was the deal. But I thought, well, let's just ask if she would consider. And she just didn't know where to begin. So the point is, we put her in the right touch with the right people. Mm-hmm. They are communicating with her on a monthly basis, looking in and going, have you done this? Did you do that? Here's what you need to do. And she said, I am no longer nervous. I know what I need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, it's going to probably be a 4-month journey, and that's okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Could be 5.
Average time for people to buy a home in the United States is 12 to 16 weeks anyway.
Yeah. But and she doesn't have to move. But the idea is, even if you have to move, the idea is being able to say, here's the opportunity you would have, and here's what it would take to do it, and here's the outcome.
Yep.
Does any of this look like something you want to do? We will make sure to hold your hand the whole time and make sure that you don't get lost in this process.
Exactly. Exactly. So the I wouldn't say moral of the story, because we're not it's not a
Right.
Rocky and Bullwinkle Aesop fables here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of digressing with the
Yeah, but there's a message here,
the
okay?
cartoons. If I start talking about Go-Go Gophers or
Right.
Sherman and
Right.
Peabody,
Got
I've jumped the shark.
You're so funny.
So,
Okay.
but the long and short of it is, if you're renting, and it's worth a thought to go, okay, yeah, I understand convenience. Believe me, we're kind of moving into a more convenient society. It's like, okay, I can pay for my Netflix account. I can lease my car. I can do these because it's a payment. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
can.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of those things, those are expenses and services. In a home, for the most part, one of the big things about home ownership is it is in many cases an appreciating asset.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, there are tax incentives worth checking with your CPA
Mm-hmm.
that are eligible because they promote home ownership.
Yeah.
Interest rates, historic lows. Again, why? To promote home ownership.
Yes.
And for
Yes.
the most part, we are there is maybe a possible trend line to moving a more rental society. You and I have had talks about that. There's
Mm-hmm.
reasons why large groups of companies are holding on to houses they bought at the bottom of the Great Recession and still renting them out.
Yeah. Exactly. There's one other, and then I actually have to run to
I
an
know
appointment.
you got a busy
Um,
day today.
there's one other thing that I would point out, and it sounds goofy, but I have one client that said to me, "So glad I had this the room to rent
Mm-hmm.
because they're living in the place, but with COVID, they brought somebody in to help them because they didn't lose their job.
Right.
They were considered, but the whole idea is you can take this piece of home ownership, this property that you own,
Yes.
and do anything you need to. The owner is a musician.
Right.
Okay, so what happened is it's not that they lost their job; they can't work. There's
Right.
nowhere to work. There were two extra bedrooms, single person, and so they brought in two of their friends that are musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So now their expenses are all divided amongst this one place. The person that owns the house keeps ownership, but somebody else is helping him make the payment when things got tough.
Oh,
Helped his
you
friends
mean
that are
roommates in other bedrooms?
they are now the person that is the renting to other people
The
to make their
classic.
payment. So I think that's where I'm saying there's so many,
Yep.
because this person wasn't sure they wanted to. They're like, I don't know, I don't know. They're so glad they did because now they have somebody helping them with their payment, and their rent still was going to be $200 where they were, $200 less than the house payment, but they wouldn't have been able to make that payment regardless. So I
Correct.
guess there's all these things we don't think about on a daily basis, but there. What if? Well, then you have space. If you need to rent it to somebody, you can. If you
Absolutely.
can't make the payment, you can go ahead and rent it out and live with your mother for that matter. I know nobody wants to, but the options are there just in case something happens, I guess is the point. It's not just you're sitting there and you're responsible for it. You can do things when times change.
Oh yeah, for sure. No question about it. And so,
Yeah.
Colleen, I know you've got to run, but the end result is that good friend of ours, Monday morning, we're over at Affinity, and we're
Yeah.
looking at the projects. We've worked with the Affinity people before, so we have a good feeling of what's available, incentives, things of that nature. So, to those out there in Facebook and YouTube land, if you know of somebody who's thought about buying or is renting right now, wants to have a 10 or 15 minute Skype session
Mhm.
or Zoom call, we can just go over the numbers to see where you're at. There's no harm, no foul. Because if you've got that information, then you can decide whether or not that's in your best interest. That's what we're
Exactly.
saying.
That's it. That's all it is. It isn't a pressure thing. It's information.
Yes, exactly.
So
So
anybody out there that knows anybody that does rent or is renting or has even thought about it or is scared of it, that's who we want to hear from.
absolutely. And like I said too, if you're shy because you've got some concerns of things in the credit, I get paid, all that good stuff. Well, that is what we're here for, because we also have the resource group to put you in touch with to put you on the right path. And it might not be today, but
Right.
if we answer the questions and get you on a path, it's kind of like dieting. I don't lose weight. It's a journey.
Well, and but you also have to read. You talk to people that know the best way to do it.
Exactly.
So that's all that is. This is. Are you calling us like the Weight Watchers of real estate? Is that what you?
No, we're just real estate advisors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I have more examples I could throw out there. That's going to be a 6 month before they can buy, but at least they are so happy that they're on the trail
Exactly.
to doing the things they need to do in order to be able to buy a home.
Right.
So.
And it's like a friend of mine I talked to yesterday. We're looking to sell his house. He bought it back in the 90s. He said, Don, I thought all loans were 20% down. This is a guy who owns a business.
Yes. 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 No, there's a lot. There are people that have, yes, I won't even, that's a whole nother segment. So.
Exactly. Well, I know you've got to run. Colleen, thanks for joining in today.
Thanks, Dawn. It was fun. I enjoy it.
Absolutely. And then tomorrow, unfortunately, I've got a meeting as well, so there won't be a Friday edition of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen, but we're actually got some great interviews stacked up for next week.
Perfect.
And we'll talk
Can't
about
wait.
those on Monday. So, Colleen, cheers to you out there and
Yeah.
on the east side.
East side. Mm-hmm.
So-
You to the west side.
Thank you very much. And then, so thanks everyone for tuning in to today's Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. We greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, questions about renting, all that good stuff, buying, selling, or investing in real estate, that's what Colleen and I are here for. So again, your real estate experience matters. So on behalf of Colleen Schaefer, I'm Don Cramer. We form the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Wishing you a wonderful day. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.